O-Level Biology 5090, Paper 1, Variant 2, October, November 2024. And question number 1 is, the diagram shows three different types of microscopic structures, 1, 2, and 3. What are these structures? And here you can see, students, three types of cells are there, and you can see the cell number 1. Cell number 1 is xylem, in which the lignification is in the form of pits. You can see the pits are there in the lignified xylem, walls and pits. Pits means this is the place where there is no lignin. Lignin is absent in these pits or in the small pore-like structure. So this is the xylem in which is lignified structure. And number 2, you can see the red blood cell without nucleus. Red blood cell without nucleus. So this is red blood cell. And third, long protruding structure is of root hair cell. So according to this, at number 1 is xylem, and at number 2 is red blood cell, and at number 3 is root hair cell. So D is the correct option in this case. Now we are moving towards the next question, question number 2. And here you can see the question number 2. Species of organisms have scientific names made up of two parts. Made up of two parts. What is the system used to name species? The classification system? No. Classification system means to classify the organisms, but there is a specific name for this system, the genus system. Again, the alone genus system is not working. The binomial system, yes, this system works. That is, the binomial means two names system. The dichotomous key system, dichotomous key is a method by which we identify the organisms. So binomial system is the system which two, by means two, nomial names means the one name consists of genus and the other consists of species name. As for example, Homo sapiens. So Homo sapiens, Homo means genus name, and sapiens is the name of the species. So binomial system is the correct option. Next, question number 3 is, the diagram shows the water potentials measured in units of kPa in a groups of plant cells. A larger negative number indicates a lower water potential. Which sequence of arrows shows the net movement of water from cell X? Well, you can see cell X has negative potential minus 300 kPa. So the arrows shows the movement of the water. So minus 300 kPa, the water is moving where on the other side minus 3. We will first of all we will follow the route A. So it is moving towards the minus 3 to 5 kPa. It is less water potential. Here the more water potential as comparison to minus 300, which is minus 325. So water and then minus 325, it is increasing, minus 310, and then 300. So this route is not working. So or the second route is minus 300, so moving more, less water potential, so it is moving in this direction. And then minus 325 to minus 450 is more as comparison to minus 325. So water will move from higher towards the lower, and then again minus 600 is also lower than minus 450, so water will move in this direction. So this route is a proper route, and the other routes which they have shown minus 300 to, so water will not moving in this way. So you can see minus 300, minus 290 is more water potential as comparison to minus 300. So water will not move in this direction. Water will move always from higher water potential towards the lower water potential. So in this way, you can see the route which is following, which the water will follow from cell X towards the other. So it is only the B. And you can see when we are talking about the other routes, they are totally wrong, as the water is not moving in this way in these directions, because minus 325 is lower, so water moves here. But on the then minus 450 kPa is more less than 325, so water will move in this direction. On the other hand, minus 290 is higher than minus 300, so water uh, will not move in this direction. So in this way, only B is the correct option. Next question. Which statements about active transports are correct? Ions move from a region of higher concentration or region of lower concentration? No. They move from region of lower to high. Lower to high. So this statement is not correct. Ions move across the cell membrane. Yes, they can move in or out of the cell. Energy released during respiration is used to move ions into or out of the cell. Yes, because they have to move from lower concentration towards the higher concentration. So they need energy. So that energy which is released during the process of respiration is used for the active transport. So according to this, A, B, C is not correct, because the statement number 2 and 3 are correct. So D is the correct option. Which biological molecules contain the chemical elements carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen, and phosphorus? Carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen, and phosphorus. These are the four types of elements. You know, cellulose is a carbohydrate. So it can say it should contain carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. Lipid contains carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. Starch is also carbohydrate. They contain carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. So DNA is that which contains carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen, and phosphorus. So only DNA is the correct option. DNA, the unit of DNA is the nucleotide. And nucleotides, they made up of one nitrogen base. They made up of pentose sugar, and thirdly, the phosphate molecule. So in this way, DNA is the correct option. The catalase is an enzyme found in potato tissues. It catalyzes the breakdown of hydrogen peroxide into water and oxygen. You can see the hydrogen peroxide in the presence of catalase enzyme is changed into water and oxygen. The apparatus shown was used to investigate the activity of catalase. Here you can see the oxygen wiring cylinder and water is there. Delivery tube is from this conical flask to the uh, 3% hydrogen peroxide solution. Potato discs are in conical flask and delivery tube is moving from this conical to the water body. So 5 identical potato discs were dropped into 15 cubic centimeter of a 3% hydrogen peroxide solution at a temperature of 20 degrees centigrade. The time taken for five, the time taken for 5 cubic centimeter of oxygen to be produced was recorded. Here, the procedure was repeated at each of the following temperatures: 30 degrees centigrade, 40 degrees centigrade, 50 degrees centigrade, 60 degree and 70 degrees centigrade. Which graph shows the results of the investigation? Hydrogen peroxide in the presence of catalase will break down into water and oxygen. So uh, here you can see the 4 graphs has been given. On n x-axis, the temperature has been shown, and on y-axis, time has been shown. So, as according to uh, the first graph is showing. First of all, uh, I would like to say that the experiment is investigating the catalase and enzyme in potato tissues, so which breaks down hydrogen peroxide into water and oxygen. Then the experiment varies the temperature 20 to 70 degrees centigrade. You can see over there 20 to 70 degrees centigrade. So the enzymes have an optimal temperature at which they function best, that is 35 to 40 degrees centigrade, So below this temperature, their activity will be slow, and above the optimal temperature, they denature. So 20 degrees C is a low temperature. You can say this is the 20 degrees centigrade. And as the temperature is uh, increasing, the rate of reaction is increasing, due to which the time is decreasing. Time is decreasing as at high temperature. You can say about lowest time is between 40 degrees centigrade to 50 degrees centigrade. But after this, the time is increasing. It means the rate, due to the denaturation of enzymes, the reaction is slowed down or reaction is stopped. Because the graph is, shows a U-shaped curve. So this suggests that the time taken is high at low temperature, decreases to a minimum, and then increases again at high temperature. So it matches with our expectations from this, as you know, the enzymes denature at high temperature. And the second graph shows a straight line with a, you can say, positive slope, indicating that the time taken increases as the temperature is increasing, eh, which is against the nature of the enzymes. So and C shows it shows a straight line. As temperature is increasing, time is decreasing. This is true, but the enzymes work till the maximum temperature, or after optimum temperature, the reactions will be stopped or it will be slowed down. So again, this graph is not according to our expectations. Again, D graph shows a curve that rises initially and then going down it double and stops at 50 degrees centigrade. So this is not the way. That After, as temperature is increasing, the time should be decreasing, but till the optimal temperature. So according to nature of the enzymes, the graph A is the correct option. And next question number 7 is there. The graph shows factors affecting the rate of photosynthesis. So graph 1, three graphs has been shown over there. First graph is showing the rate of photosynthesis with the light intensity. As light intensity is increasing, the rate of photosynthesis is also increasing, but after a certain time, it goes straight. The graph number 2, again, rate of photosynthesis, but carbon dioxide concentration increasing. Again, it will go in straight after certain time. Then rate of photosynthesis with temperature is increasing at point, and then it is increasing. But after optimum temperature, it is decreasing and stop the reaction. So at which points the on the graph would the rate of photosynthesis be limited by the carbon dioxide concentration? So carbon dioxide concentration, first of all, we will discuss point number 1. At this point, you can see the rate of photosynthesis is increasing rapidly. This curve shows it is increasing rapidly with increasing light intensity. So this suggests that light intensity is limiting the rate at point 1. Then point 2, you can see the rate of photosynthesis has plateaued. You can say it is in the going same uh, direction. So increasing light intensity no longer increase the rate. It is moving in this direction. So it means there is no change in its direction, or there is no increase or decrease. So this suggests that the light intensity is no longer limiting factor. Another factor such as carbon dioxide or temperature could be the limiting at this point too. Now point 3, at this point the rate of photosynthesis is increasing rapidly. Again, that the rapidly with increasing carbon dioxide concentration. So it means point number 3 can be the limiting factor for this. And at point 4, you can see there is a straight line of the graph can be obtained, due to which we can say there will be no change due to increase or decrease in carbon dioxide concentration. Now the next third graph, as the temperature is increasing, the rate of photosynthesis also increasing. And at point 5, you can see the rate of photosynthesis with the increasing temperature. This suggests that temperature is limiting the rate over here. So the rate of photosynthesis is decreasing with increasing temperature. So we can say this point is also act as a limiting factor. So according to these points, A, E, and D are not the correct option. Only C is the correct option. Next question. The diagram shows section through a leaf. And you can see the different parts of the leaf are upper epidermis, palisade mesophyll, spongy mesophyll, so the area X shows the inter air spaces. You can say intermolecular air spaces, or we can say the air spaces. and lower epidermis. Conduction, now the main function of the region labeled X. Conduction at sport, airspace will not sport or conduct gaseous exchange. Yes, gaseous exchange which takes place in the air spaces because a thin layer of moisture is there. So it helps the diffusion of the gases. So the gaseous exchange will take place in the air spaces. Photosynthesis is not taking place in the air spaces. No chlorophyll is there. And prevention of water loss. So it will not prevent the water loss through this only. B is the correct option. That is the gaseous exchange which takes place in these air spaces. Next question number 9. And question number 9 is, which row shows how water and ions are taken into the root hair cells. So effects, we can say that the water will always move from higher water potential to lower water pressure. And this process is called as osmosis through a semi-permeable membrane. So water will never move by active transport. So osmosis is the correct answer for water. And ions, they will not move by osmosis, only they can move with the active transport because they have to move from lower concentration to a higher concentration or against the concentration by using energy. So according to this, D is the correct option. Next question, 4 leafy shoots cut from the same plant were put into beakers of colored water and left in rooms with different temperatures. In 2 rooms, electric fans were set up to blow air over these stems. And here you can see uh, the time taken for the colored water to reach the leaves was measured for each stem, in which stem will, with the colored water, reach the leaves the fastest. Room conditions 10 degrees centigrade. You can see low temperature will result in low transpiration. You know the transpiration is the process of transpiration is taking place in this question. We have to discuss about that. That is, the transpiration is the process where water evaporates from the leaves of a plant, creating a pool that draws water up the stem through the xylem. So factors which affects the rate of transpiration are temperature, air movement. So here you can see both are working. That is, the both are given, conditions are given. That is, temperature has been also shown, and the secondly, the air movement. So at temperature 10 degrees C, low temperature will result in slow transpiration. So this is not the correct option. B, 10 degrees C with the fan. This fan will help a bit, but the slow temperature will still limit transpiration. So again, this is not the correct option. At 30 degrees C, higher temperature will increase transpiration rate. Yes, but when there is fan and temperature is high, the rate, the combination will increase the rate of transpiration. So, the combination of high temperature and the fan will maximize the rate of transpiration. So, colored water will reach the leaves fastest in the stem in the D option when there is high temperatures, that is 30 degrees centigrade, and there is a fan, which will increase the rate of transpiration. And next question is, cubes of boiled egg white are placed in test tubes containing 5 cubic centimeter of water. Boiled egg white contains protein. Other substances are added to each test tube as shown in the table. So the test tubes are left for 8 hours and then tested for amino acids. And you know the proteins are broken down in the presence of an enzyme into amino acids. So if they are broken down, there should be the presence of amino acids over there. So you know the only when containing test tubes, boiled egg, and if we add pepsin into it, the results of test for amino acids, water is there. It means the pH should also be maintained. That is, the proteins are digested with the enzyme pepsin in acidic pH, which is true in the stomach. So proteins are digested in the stomach. If only pepsin is there, the process will be very slow. Or acidic conditions are not there, then there will be no breakdown of proteins into amino acids. Pepsin and alkali, again, pH is not matching. There is no pepsin, though no breakdown of proteins into amino acids. When there is pepsin, acid is there. It means pH is maintained and enzyme is also there. So large amounts of amino acids will be available. And then boiled pepsin is there. Again, acidic conditions are there, but there is boiled pepsin. So traces of amino acids will be there. Not large amount of amino acids will be there. Again, on the acid will not work. There should be the enzyme as well. So traces of amino acids are there. Alkali, so they will be absent. So only the point 4 and 5. Which test tubes show that pepsin is an enzyme? So C is the correct option because in this case, the protein is broken down into amino acids. So 4 and 5. This is the correct option. Next question is, the diagram shows a section through a villus. What is the main role of the vessel X? First of all, the question to carry out amino acids to the liver. And then to carry out amino acids to the liver for protein formation. Amino acids are uploaded in the villus by the blood vessels. So this is not the correct option. To deliver deoxygenated blood to the heart, again, no. To supply oxygen to the cells of the villus, again, they do not supply the oxygen in this way. The transfer fatty acids and glycerol to the lymph system. Yes, so X is the lacteal through which the fatty acids and glycerol are uploaded. They are transferred. Okay, to transfer fatty to the lymphatic system, they are only transferred to this lacteal. So only D is the correct option in this case. The only major function is to uploading of glycerol and fatty acids. Lipids. Which part of the human digestive system is a major region for assimilation of amino acids? B is the stomach. where proteins are digested. And C is the small intestine, where digestion is completed and then absorption takes place. And D is the large intestine. Absorption of water and salts takes place large intestine. And A is the liver, where the assimilation of amino acids takes place in the liver. So this is the correct option A. Next question. Question number 14 is there. When the volume of the thorax increases, the pressure in the thorax is lowered. This results in air being taken into the body. Volume of the thorax increases. Volume of thorax, it means thorax is dilated. So in volume is its volume is increasing, it is dilated. When it is dilated, it means the pressure is decreased inside. So when pressure is decreased, it means it is ready to take the oxygen in. So oxygen will be entered when there is pressure, when there is a low pressure. So how is the volume of the thorax increased? So the air is breathed in. So volume is increased. How? As the by the diaphragm and the external intercostal muscles contracting. Diaphragm, uh, the membranous structure which separates the thoracic region with the lumbar region. So it is helpful in the process of respiration, inhalation or exhalation, or breathing in or breathing out. So when the diaphragm contracts, the external intercostal muscles also contract. When the external intercostal muscles and diaphragm contract, it means at that time the volume of the thorax is increased. So the rib cage moves in the forward and upward direction. So at that time, all this respiratory system is ready to take the oxygen in, to breathe in. So A can be the correct option. Let's see the other options. By the relaxing and the external intercostal muscles contracting. When diaphragm becomes dome shaped, so and external intercostal muscles, when they never move opposite to each other. External intercostal muscles and diaphragm. They relax at the same time, they contract at the same time. So this statement is not correct. By the diaphragm and the internal costal muscles contracting, it will not pair with internal intercostal muscles. It will always, diaphragm always pairs with the external intercostal muscles. So when the diaphragm is contracting, the internal costal muscles will relax at that time. So by the diaphragm relaxing and the intercostal muscles contracting, well, it takes place, but we need this condition that the diaphragm and external intercostal muscles should contract at the same time, due to which the rib cage will move in the forward and upward direction, and the volume of the thoracic cavity will increase. And the pressure in the thorax will be lowered. So A is the correct option. Next question, number 15. The diagram shows how some apparatus is set up to investigate respiration in germinating seeds. Uh, Germinating seeds has been shown. Germinating and wire mesh, they are on the wire mesh. And below, there is sodium hydroxide solution to absorb carbon dioxide. So, thermometer is there, water bath, capillary tube, colored oil drop. The colored oil drop moves along the capillary tube. It will move along the capillary tube. And then what causes the movement of the colored oil drop? You can see the process of respiration will take place as a result of respiration. You can see the carbon dioxide which is produced will be absorbed by the sodium hydroxide. So carbon dioxide released, it will not help because it is absorbed by the sodium hydroxide. So heat released, no, it will not help to move the colored oil drop. Yes, when the oxygen will be used, when oxygen will be used, so this oil drop will move in the direction. So water used, water is present in the bath, it will be you can say in such a way it will not be used in the space. So this is not the correct option. Only oxygen will help the oil drop to move along the capillary. If you know, if there was the carbon dioxide which is produced, so it will not help in this way. Only oxygen is helpful for the movement of the soil. A ventricular septal deficit is a hole in the septum between the left and right ventricles of the heart. Which statement describes which statement describes the effect on blood flow through the heart in a person with a ventricular septal deficit? First of all, you can see what is a ventricular septal deficit is a hole in the septum, the wall that separates the right and left ventricles of the heart. You can see the hearts. This is the intra-auricular septum. So there is a hole between the so what happens with this? So disallow blood to flow between the ventricles. Right side deoxygenated blood enters the right atrium, moves to the right ventricle and is pumped to the lungs via the pulmonary artery. But on left side, oxygenated blood enters the right atrium, moves to the left atrium and then moves to the left ventricle and is pumped to the body via the aorta. So what will happen in case when there is uh, ventricular septum deficit? So ventricle high has high pressure than the right ventricle. You know, the left ventricle has high pressure. So it has high pressure. Due to high pressure, you can say the hole in the right ventricle, this means. So oxygen blood mixes with the deoxygenated blood in the right ventricle. This mixed blood then goes pumped to the lungs. So this can lead the inefficient oxygen delivery to the body, analyzing the you can say the whole process. So first of all, we will go with the A option. Some oxygenated blood flows into the pulmonary vein. This pulmonary vein carries oxygenated blood. So blood from the lungs to the left atrium, deoxygen would not flow into it. So this is not the correct option. Some oxygenated blood flows into the right atrium. So blood flows from the right atrium to the right ventricle, not the other way around. So this is not the correct option. And then C option, some oxygenated blood flows through the pulmonary artery. And this is correct because the oxygenated blood from the left ventricle flows into the right ventricle and then gets pumped to the lungs through the pulmonary artery. So this is the correct. Some deoxygenated blood flows into the left atrium. The left atrium receives oxygenated blood. So this is not the correct option. Only C is the correct option because oxygenated blood flows through the pulmonary artery. So this is because the VSD, or we can say the ventricular septum deficit, allow oxygenated blood to flow from the left ventricle to the right ventricle. Left ventricle to the right ventricle from the, and then this mixed blood is pumped to the lungs via the pulmonary artery. So blood can move in this direction and then through pulmonary artery, it will move towards the lungs. Next question, human blood is composed of plasma and red blood cells and white blood cells and platelets. Which row states a function of each of these components? Plasma, which is the liquid portion of the blood, which is helpful in transportation of carbon dioxide because it is not performing the function of clotting. So it transports the carbon dioxide. So these red blood cells transporting oxygen, not transporting. So white blood cells producing antibodies, they are not transporting anything, they are producing antibodies on. Platelets, function of the platelets is clotting, not producing antibodies. So only according to this, only B is the correct option, in which the plasma is transporting the carbon dioxide, red blood cells are transporting the oxygen, white blood cells are producing the antibodies, and platelets are clotting the blood. Next question number 18 is there. How is malaria normally transmitted from person to person? Airborne droplets. The malaria is caused by a microorganism, Plasmodium. And in this case, mosquito. Mosquitoes act as vectors which transfer the plasmodium from infected person to healthy person. So the mosquitoes or the vectors which have plasmodium inside, they are called as the infected mosquitoes. So airborne droplets are not the transmitting the malaria from person to person. So this is not a contagious disease. Contaminated needles, again, this is not caused by this sexual intercourse. This is not the sexually transmitting disease. So it is not transmitted in this. Only infected mosquitoes are there which carry the plasmodium and they transfer it from person to person. So C is the correct option. Next, carbon monoxide is a poisonous gas that combines with hemoglobin to form carboxyhemoglobin. Which function of the blood will be affected if a person inhales carbon monoxide? The ability of the blood to form clots. When carbon monoxide combined with hemoglobin, carbon monoxide plus hemoglobin, they form carboxyhemoglobin. So when formation of carboxyhemoglobin, means the bond which is formed between carbon monoxide and hemoglobin is very strong, unbreakable, strong, unbreakable bond. So due to which the hemoglobins will be unable to carry the oxygen, to transport the oxygen. So because in this way, the blood clotting will take place. In the presence of carboxyhemoglobin, the blood will clot. And when the blood will clot, the oxygen carrying capacity of the hemoglobin will be finished or it will be stopped. So A is not the correct option. The formation of antibodies by lymphocytes, they don't have concern with one another. The transport of adrenaline in the blood, again, it will not transport anything. So only B is the correct option. That is, the carriage of oxygen to the blood organ will be affected because the hemoglobin will not making a bond with the oxygen because it has made a bond with the carbon monoxide, which is unbreakable bond, due to which the hemoglobin will be unable to transport the oxygen. So B is the correct option. Question number 29. Sorry, question number 20. Which disease can be cured with antibiotics? Lung cancer. There is not treatment for cancer, the cancerous medicines are there to treat the cancer. HIV infection, sexually transmitting disease, viral infection. Cancer is also viral infection. HIV viral infection. Cholera is the bacterial infection. So we can see that only antibiotics are used for bacterial infection, not for viral infections. Viral infections have antiviral drugs or antiviral medicines. So according to this, A, B, C are not the correct option. Only D is the correct option. So it was all about the question number 1 and 20. Please like, share, and subscribe my channel. Thanks for watching.